We're good.
Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh. I could not be happier to start my morning off like this. First of all, I am Dr. Jareka Dodd, founder and CEO of Your Pharmacy Advocate and executive editor of Pharmacist magazine. Have you seen my magazine? Anyway, I am so excited to be here with you today because if you can imagine, for these last several weeks, I have been sharing information about a virtual event that's coming up. It is for women in pharmacy, for pharmacists, technicians, and for pharmacy students, women in pharmacy, and a few good men. And it's called Women in Pharmacy Nothing Held Back Live Virtual Summit. I have been making noise all over the place about this event. And so my hope is that you've heard some of the noise, you've seen the sponsors, and that you're like, leaning in, going, tell me a little bit more. So, one of the things that I want to make sure, because I hear this often when I talk with pharmacy technicians, is they say, well, I saw your event, but I wasn't sure if it was for technicians. Let's just clear that up right now. And I got the best person in the house with me to help clear it up for the technicians. This is for you. Welcome, Dr. Leslie Hodge, who is, I could just run down a rap sheet for Leslie. She was on the cover of Miss CEO magazine. That's where we met. She was on the cover of Pharmacist magazine. That's where we got together again. She has been a former coaching client of mine, which I can't tell you what an honor it was that my friend came to me to coach. And then let me just tell you, she's like that your road dog that everybody needs a Leslie Hodge in their life. Leslie is the founder and CEO of Scripts and Beyond Pharmacy Consulting Service. Leslie is the master stylist El Renee from Who's Your Stylist Image Consulting. So if you don't know Leslie, then okay, let me introduce one more thing. Leslie is the founder and CEO of Emerge Learning Institute. And this is an institution where she trains people who want to move into the pharmacy technician career path. And then those who are pharmacy technicians, she also trains to help them become certified pharmacy technicians. So with that, I thought nobody better to bring to this platform than Dr. Leslie Hodge to talk about her experience in nurturing, empowering, and educating technicians to go down the career path that they're interested in, because there is something for you at this summit. All right, welcome, Dr. Leslie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. How are you this morning? Well, morning you,
Yeah,
afternoon you.
it's still morning, afternoon, evening for those who might be somewhere outside of the country watching. I am so excited that you're here. And I'm gonna just tell you, this long rap sheet, that could have been the interview right there. But I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of the way that you continue to, while you're elevating yourself, reaching out to those around you and helping their dreams come true as well. Like that to me embodies a pharmacist woman. So I knew what I was doing in that first issue. I knew. Anyway, so excited to have you here. And when I learned of your endeavor, your most recent endeavor to educate pharmacy technicians, I was like, oh, they need to know about this. So I'm gonna ask you to just give me some background, because I don't want people to think that you just fell off the turnip truck yesterday and set up shop and hung out a shingle. No, you've been interacting with techs and serving them and educating them for a long time. So tell us a little bit about your history with pharmacy technicians.
Absolutely. So my I say official history as far as being a registered pharmacist began in 2004. So I graduated from pharmacy school immediately. By the grace of God, went right into um, a managerial role and stayed in that role, not at that particular store, but that role for my whole career. So I've always been a pharmacy manager. I don't take that for granted. And with that, I've been able to interact with, I should have counted, but I would say I have trained at least, okay, let me say this. I did that for 17 years. So we'll
Ah,
say I'm going to say at least 50 to 75, because interestingly enough, a lot of pharmacy technicians um, have a long career. So
Yes.
it's not a gig for them. It really is a career. And so I've been blessed to, celebrate people's retirements, celebrates people's 10-year anniversaries. So
Mhm.
I again don't take that for granted, to be a part of their history, their career. And
Mhm.
so people who might have started off thinking, hey, I'm just going to stay here, and you hear that all the time. Just give me 2 years. I just want to get my foot in the door, and then I'm going to move on to something else. But here we are celebrating your 5-year anniversary. Here we are celebrating your 10-year anniversary. And so I would say about 50 to 75 pharmacists over my 17-year career in a managerial role.
Wow. And it's been a minute since I practiced, but I remember the technician being critical because I used to do quite a bit of PRN work. And so the technician, I just remember showing up at places where I did not know the computer system. I was there just for the day, filling in as a PRN pharmacist. And I remember thinking the tech can make or break this
Absolutely.
situation. The tech can make or break this day. And
Absolutely.
I always felt that, one, because I was in a position when I managed a hospital pharmacy and I
Mhm.
had 30 pharmacists and 30 technicians reporting to me. And I remember, like, the techs would say things like, "You're cool because you're a manager that wears scrubs like we do." And so I just remember thinking the technicians are and were for me the backbone of the operation that I was
Absolutely.
managing, if you will. So I can imagine in the day to day execution of what pharmacies are called to do, it can't be
Mhm.
done without a tech. And I know that as we have watched the profession and what has happened with a bit of the squeeze of hours and expectations and
Mhm.
staffing and all of those things, that we probably tend to hear more about what the pharmacists are experiencing.
Mhm.
But in my travels, I'm understanding that technicians are feeling and seeing the same things. And so that's why I think it's so important that techs at this time know there's something that can be done in their careers. So talk a
Absolutely.
little bit about that for the person who's looking for a career, and then the person who is in the tech career, but they're like, what's next? What is there more? That talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So, to talk about that, and even to piggyback on what you said, technicians truly are the lifeline. When we think about how pharmacists are able to function, how they're able to carry out their duties, it really is the technician that we rely on. And so, as you were telling your story, I laughed because when I would, be asked to work other stores, fill in here, my first question was, how many techs you got? Who are the technicians there? Because I understood that, hey, if I don't have a strong support, then that day is not going to go well. And
Right.
technicians are that. And so
Yes.
when leaders have invested in their technicians, then their stores, their performance, their productivity is that much more powerful and impactful for the company. And then even for not just the company, but the community. So it's
Right.
a win-win all the way around. But for
Mhm.
that technician who was saying, yes, I work at this location, whether it's hospital, whether it's closed door pharmacy, whether it is long term care, what else is there to do?
Mhm.
I would suggest, and I say this with my students now, think about what you ultimately want to do, and then let's create a path to get there. So
Yes.
yes, you are a pharmacy technician. Are you nationally certified? Let's get that going. Let's get that process and get those credentials earned. And then after that, what else do you like doing? Do you like interacting with customers one on one and having those conversations and helping them have those aha moments? Because then maybe you can be a pharmacy technician for someone like us who owns consulting businesses, because
Right.
we've talked about that too, how important that is with the information that we need to gather. A
Mhm.
pharmacy technician can do that. A pharmacy
Yes.
technician is the one who can say, hey, we got a problem. I remember in pharmacy school, and this will tie in. I remember in pharmacy school, my law professor, Dr. Wilson, he made a comment about doctors used to send in nurses to get the truth. Let me
Mhm.
let me say that correctly. Send in nurses into the patient's room to get the truth.
Mm-hmm.
because patients wouldn't tell the truth to the doctor, right?
Yes.
So they would send in nurses. And then it shifted where they would say, well, you know what? Let me call your pharmacy because I know you've already spoken to the pharmacist, and the
Mm-hmm.
pharmacist can give that truth. But I'm here to tell you the technician can give the truth too because
Yes.
the patients, the community, they interact. They are oftentimes the first person who represents that organization that they have that encounter with, and they
Mm-hmm.
know how to form those relationships. They know how
Yeah.
to ask those questions. Pharmacy technicians are going to be the ones who remember, hey, didn't you say you traveled somewhere? How was that? Didn't you say you had surgery? And so they can get the ball rolling and get
Mhm.
all that information that we need as pharmacists to go
Right.
on and, properly and appropriately fill those prescriptions. And so when you ask what should a pharmacy technician be thinking about, what is your ultimate goal? What do you see yourself doing? How do we create a path for you to get there? Again, if
Mhm.
you are a technician in training, maybe you just got hired into the role and there's some training that has to go on site, making
Mhm.
sure that you complete that training, have a full understanding, and then become certified with, or excuse me, register with your state or license with your state.
Right.
Then, hey, you know what? I want to do more. I want to earn more. And
Right.
so earning more comes with those credentials as a national certification. Then it becomes, well, you know what? I think I want to maybe explore doing IVs only. Well, okay, you can get certified in some of
Yeah.
those areas as well. So it's so many different routes or routes you can take.
Mm.
And having that conversation is where it starts, though.
Yes. For me, I think that when I think about, so I don't have currently any one working with me in my consulting practice
Mhm,
because I've been so focused on this side of my
mhm,
business,
absolutely.
producing this event and
Mhm,
coaching women in pharmacy. But when I think about the value that a technician could add in helping gather information from patients, following up and checking in with patients,
mhm,
just like I said, really, like you said, getting that information. The other benefit that I see is I think about the person that works with me as my assistant.
yes.
She's not just an assistant, like she is a part of my business. So it was very important for me to make sure that she understands the mission, the
Mhm,
vision, the
absolutely.
goals, that we're operating as a team. It was important for me to make sure she understood because she's excited about being a part of
Mhm,
delivering what we're delivering. And
exactly.
so that, I think, is the other bonus, probably the unspoken bonus of when I say, if you're a pharmacy technician, I would get to know some pharmacist entrepreneurs. And I would even take it a bit further, Leslie, to say that
Mhm,
if people are interested, setting themselves up as entrepreneurs themselves. So
absolutely.
then you're doing business
Absolutely.
to business and not necessarily working for one particular entity. You can actually
Absolutely.
set up your own business and consult. And
Mhm,
so with that, that is those are some of the things that I think that technicians are going to find exciting in this
mhm,
space because the profession is going through lots of changes, lots of pressures,
mhm.
lots of, who's responsible for who. And while
Right.
everybody's over there trying to figure that out, I'm over here saying, well, look, while they're figuring out who's responsible
Let
and
me do
who's
this.
involved,
Yes.
come over here and pull yourself together, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, time is the one thing that I feel that we as humans always feel like we have more of, and
Yes.
that's a lie. We don't have more
Yes.
time.
We do
And
not.
so I have decided that, I mean, it's not for me personally to necessarily wage war in those battles. I support, I can provide a platform, but I am all about saying, okay, it may take more than you have want or have the energy to take on this. So why don't you come over here? And I feel that my place to make a difference is one by one. I don't
Absolutely.
necessarily have to take on the
The
establishment,
masses. Hmm.
but one by one. And I
Absolutely.
believe that text, when even if, Leslie, like, tell me, what do you think? Because, the thing I know we agree with pharmacists, because you being master stylist and master fashion stylist, that is so atypical of what a pharmacist would do.
Mhm.
However, you stepping out of the box of what society and everybody else would think a pharmacist is,
Mhm.
I believe technicians can do the same,
Absolutely.
because what about the ones who are interested in like social media
I was
and
just about
marketing
to say that.
and
Absolutely.
graphic design and whatever? I just
Yes.
showed you little gifts that are
Mhm,
going to be for the
mhm,
swag bags for the event. And
mhm.
the woman who made them was not a technician or a pharmacist, but like there are people that have those kind of creativity that maybe you have a knack or a skill for making landing pages or websites. Do you know how many pharmacists don't want to be bothered and don't have time? And they're like, ooh, if I could. And then you have the skill set and the knowledge to understand that you can talk to that person and then go, oh, okay,
Absolutely.
let me translate this into. So I encourage people to think out of the box, even outside of
Absolutely.
pharmacy, because you could really find yourself doing some new, interesting things that you never
Yeah.
imagined. So talk about that.
Agree. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because I was just going to mention that. What are you passionate about as well? So if you are into social media, if you're into technology, literally just had this conversation with some of my students. Hey, if you spend all that time or used to because they're studying now, but you spend all that time on different platforms, TikTok, Instagram, why not use that to educate? Why not use
Yeah.
that to get the message out? You enjoy doing it and you enjoy learning about pharmacy. Why not merge the two? Why not
Yes.
create, if you have that IT background, why not create an app? Help people to learn drug names, to
Yes.
learn different disease states, and how to study for maybe their exam. I've
Mhm.
even mentioned before, and you hit it on the head with the websites. One thing about building websites, everyone doesn't like to do it. You are so correct about that. A lot of people don't even want to take the time to learn, but one thing about websites is the language, the copyright. And if
Right.
you are a technician and you have understand the language that is going to translate to the consumer, to that patient, someone would say they will welcome you, right? You'll hear the gates
Right.
open and the angels singing because that's what they need. And
Yeah.
you build a web page to connect with people, so you're able to say, hey, use this, maybe use this term instead of that term, have this flow instead of that flow. People understand it better. Just thinking about what is the need? What is the
Right.
need? How can I use what I have already have to meet that need? And so
Right.
it can go absolutely outside of your traditional roles. And it's
Yes.
still helping, it's still assisting, it's still impacting. And that's what it's all about. Because when you get into healthcare, we do care for people. That's why we're in it.
Right.
So how can I use the knowledge and the experiences that I have to really have that impact? So think about that. Think about what do you spend your time doing? A famous question you like to ask: what do you spend your time doing that if you weren't being paid for, you would do it anyway? And
Absolutely.
and we all have that thing. We may not want to tell everybody, but we all have that thing that, hey, you don't have to pay me. I do that. I can do that in my sleep.
Right.
I can
Or
do
we're
that.
already doing it because
We're
people
already
call on
doing
us.
it. We
We're
keep
already doing it.
Yes,
People call. I remember talking
yes,
to a lady one day and I
absolutely.
said, what is something that you would do even if you didn't get paid for it?
Mhm.
And she was like, well, and then I said, what do people call you for? And she said, well, a lot of my friends call me to ask how to plant different, vegetables or, herbs in their garden. And so she was like, so I just help them. I was like, see, there is a skill right there. And she was like, I never thought that I could have turned that into a business. I was like, think about, what do people call you for? Do people call you for advice? Do people call you just to listen? Do people call you and say, how do I cook? How do I plant? How do I make?
Yeah.
What do people call you for? And is that something that you're passionate enough about that you literally would do it for free, but you
Mhm.
could make money doing it? I'm telling you, I believe that the 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 landscape for technicians, as well as I say for pharmacists, it's wide open. This is, I
Right.
think, the first time in our profession that we've had to think, well, what else can I do?
Mhm.
Because I know that when I came out of school, you literally could sign your own paycheck
Yes,
and
you
put
can.
in how many zeros you wanted because there was such a demand.
Mhm.
Well, the pendulum has swung the other way. And
Mhm.
so now things are different. People are not, there's not not necessarily the demand if you are. And then I think about like morale and just job
Mhm.
satisfaction. Usually when people get to my Zoom calls, it's the job satisfaction and the morale is
Down.
down. And
Yeah.
so I'm saying, okay, how can we use this to bring something out of it that you do enjoy? And so I think that putting yourself in an environment, or actually I know, putting yourself in an environment where you can see other people and their light
Mhm.
bulb moments, where you
Mhm.
can have your own light bulb moments, where
Absolutely.
you can sit back and go, what's possible? Because
Mhm.
most of the time, when we are around the general population, I know you and I both know this, that we'll tend to put our light under a bowl and not share with anybody. We'll tend to be like, well, no, I don't want to say that out loud, because unfortunately, a lot of times around us, people tend to be negative. And
Yeah.
so when we say things, when we kind of muse out loud or dream out loud, people are usually ready to stand there and be like, why you want to do that? What
Mhm.
is that gonna
Yes,
help? I
Lord.
mean, all kinds of
Mhm.
So one of the things I'm talking about at the summit is mindset. You got to get yourself around the right people in an environment where growth and learning is happening, because when you put yourself in those environments, you'll be amazed. You won't even be able to stop all the downloads, all the bright ideas, whatever you
Mhm.
call it. They'll just start flowing, and you'll be amazed at yourself, like, wow. And
Yes.
you don't have to write them all down, because you can't do everything. You don't want to attack everything at once. But literally, that's what I want technicians to understand when they come. And we're gonna have another interview for the technicians that are out there who are sitting on the fence and deciding if they want to come or not. Can you talk a little bit to that? If there's a technician that's out there, they've been seeing me and you posting, they've been seeing other people share the information, they've been seeing me go live with these little quick and late night videos. I'm sitting here like this, going, hey, let me tell you something. So they've been seeing all of that.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I don't, and we even have tech prices. So we have
Mhm.
a discount for techs who want to come for general admission, techs who want to come for the VIP. It's like it's set up and it's waiting for you. And like I said, these little swag bags, I mean, I want a swag bag. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right?
Call up the sponsors and be like, can y'all make sure that I get one of those bags?
Don't leave me out.
Yes, yes, it's fine. You'll definitely have one. And
Don't leave
so
me out.
I want this, and that's really why I want to set the tone in advance, that this
Mhm.
is not a pharmacist only conference. This is a women in pharmacy conference, because I'm convinced that pharmacists need to know techs, pharmacists need to know students, techs need to know students, techs need to know pharmacists, students need to know everybody. Like we need to know each other and
Absolutely.
support each other. And
Mhm.
so that's why the events that I'm planning around this are like priceless.
They are. And you know what? You hit it on the head when you get around people who are in that mode of what's next. And
Yeah.
then, you have someone like yourself who is leading, who's helping to turn that faucet on that we've been holding on so tight we didn't want to turn, to allow it to flow, and finally it begins to flow and we begin to see what the possibilities
Yeah.
are. And just even thinking about where you are right now,
Mhm.
whatever organization you work for, you said, what do people call you for? What is the pharmacist always leaning on you for?
Right.
What is that? When, and again, coming from, 17 years, I know when those messages come down and those new projects and those new focuses, and we're going to start doing this. And one thing that I saw toward the end was find a technician and lean into that technician.
Yes.
And really, it's a development for them, but it's
Mhm.
also, hey, you know what? What are your strengths? Let's pull on that. That technician who likes to lead, that technician who likes to do the marketing and social media. That was new for a lot of pharmacists. Hey,
Right.
I need to post on a company website. I don't even use social media.
Yeah.
Those were some of the conversations I would hear. I'm like, you just need to do this. But I then turn it over. Hey, you post all the time. Start posting, put the messages out there,
Yes.
make sure they're, grammatically correct and things like that and appropriate. But the idea is, I'm giving you the opportunity to exercise those skills, to exercise
Mhm.
those strengths. And so, again, when you mentioned what can you do, the connection, the networking is going to be so key.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer, that relationship equity is why I am where I am
Right.
because of that investment in
Mhm.
getting to know people and getting to know how to get to know people because
Right.
we're lacking on that too. But being
Yes.
open, being open to the being open to what other people have to offer and gleaning
Right.
from that and leaning into that information that they provide. I
Right.
think too, you mentioned about pharmacists needed to know students needed to know technicians. Yes, we all need to know each other. You never know. The pharmacy world is so small. I know it seems so big. I
Right.
do.
It's
It
not.
is, it is not at all. It
No,
is not at all.
absolutely.
And so it's so important to start with the mindset now of really creating those relationships, creating those connections. You don't know what will lie ahead as our profession continues to not begin, excuse me, continues to evolve. What lies ahead? What roles will become available? I would even suggest to start looking and see what job postings are out there.
Hmm.
Start seeing what the job requirements and the skill sets that employers are looking for. If because everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur, but you're
Right.
still meant to have a brand, and that
Yeah.
brand, that reputation is so key. And so what how does what someone need, how does that fit what you are able to offer? And
Right.
then if you see something that, hey, I didn't even know that existed. That happened for me. I went out for a promotion and looked at the job requirements or what they were looking for. And they were at the time, and this is years ago, but at the time they said they wanted someone who had been certified in MTM. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Okay. So, no problem. Immediately started researching that, immediately started
Right.
finding out who was offering what, where could I sign up, got certified. And so that stood out on my resume moving forward. Hey, you did this on your own. You did this while you were working as a
Mhm.
manager? Yes, absolutely, because the skills, the knowledge still keeps going, and I
Going.
still need to stay abreast. And so I would not have known that had I not gone out for another position. So position yourself,
Yes.
open yourself up so that you can be aware of and you can decide, hey, that's for me, that's not for me. But you don't want to miss opportunities just because you think pharmacy technician is in this box, because it is not. Those boxes, the sides
Mm-mm.
are blown off. The sides
Yes.
are blown off.
The lid.
The lid is gone. The sides
Mhm.
are blown off. It is open territory for
Yes.
you to really make the impact that you want to make professionally. And I'm a big component of personally too.
Yes.
So don't limit
Yes.
it to just what do you want to do professionally. You can have both. You really can have both and have that development and have that satisfaction.
All right, Dr. Hodge, once again, you brought it home. And like, so when they see the replay, we're gonna make sure that we highlight in this replay that people, should definitely check out the this recording. So we've had a couple. Let me make sure that I give the shout outs to people. Let me see. Let me turn off. I'm over here doing all kinds of technical things. So let me turn off the banner and turn on the comment. So we got a
Oh,
comment from Raphael who said, "Greetings from
Columbia.
Colombia. Girl,
All
they
right,
watching us around the globe." And
Columbia.
so
Hey.
we also have a message from Carol Wachniak who said,
Oh,
"Congratulations to us." We have yet another comment from Jennifer who said, "Amen. Hashtag positive mindset." That's right, Jennifer. If you
yes.
don't have a positive mindset, you might as well just go on and stay home. And so, yes, a positive mindset is needed. So I want to switch back here and make sure that I put this banner up to let people know that it is definitely possible to get your ticket still. It is not too late. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go to nothingheldback.live. I got a mouthful. Nothingheldback.live. The summit is July 21st to the 23rd. This Thursday it's starting, and it's going to start at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So you've had time to get up, have your coffee mid-morning, and it'll be going on for 3 days. If you're like, I can't attend all 3 days, then you want to make sure to get that VIP VIP ticket. There is a tech VIP ticket that which is a student VIP ticket. So you want to make sure to get the VIP ticket so you'll have access to the replay link after the conference. And also there's so much that comes with that VIP ticket, in addition to getting ready, getting to be able to sit down on Friday morning and talk to the sponsors and say, hey, I want to ask you a question about this, this, and this. That is a time that I had my sponsors to commit to be present, to answer questions. We've got a couple sponsors who can't make it on that morning, but you definitely know that we are having follow-up sessions with them where they will be able to still, VIP attendees will still be able to get their questions answered of those sponsors who cannot be in attendance. But the majority of the sponsors will be there on Friday the 22nd, and I cannot wait, because this is not only an event for pharmacists, it's an event for technicians, it's an event for pharmacy students. I know this has been a tech focus, but for students, you know how many students I've talked to who have said, wow, I don't know what it's going to look like when I graduate. What's the job scene going to look like? What's the apprehension that they feel even this early on in pharmacy school, where they're like, I'm hoping I chose the right profession, or I've heard all kinds of things. This is a place to put yourself in the environment to say, what if? And I promise you, when you do that, the things that you come up with, you're going to be amazed. And what happens oftentimes when we're in scientific fields that cause us to use a lot of analytical brain power, if you will, is we edit. I tell people, don't let your brain edit what your heart is crying out for. If you want to, I don't know, that's
good. That's good.
That's what we tend to do. Yeah. We tend to go, you know, I would like, and then our brain says, well, you can't do that. How are you going to get the money to do that? How are you going to do that? Where are you going to get that from? Who's going to like, your brain begins to take over. And I believe that you cannot let your brain edit what your heart is saying, what your heart is crying out for. Don't let your brain edit that. Your brain is wired to try to protect you and keep you safe. And I just had a conversation yesterday that there is no safe. There's no safe. There's no safe in any situation. There's no guarantee. And she was like, well, how do I prepare? I said, honey, some things are just going to happen that you can't be prepared for, but you have to trust that you know enough, that you have to trust that you have what you need in the moment, and you're going to be fine, because you can't prepare for every potential circumstance that could happen. So with that, I just want to remind everyone, nothingheldback.live is the website. I hope that you'll go there, get your ticket. If you need the code for a tech or student discount, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to get that information to you. Can't wait to see you on Thursday. Dr. Hodge will be joining us Thursday or Friday, and this amazing woman is going to do her amazing thing on Saturday, because she is a leader and she is talking up to people and helping them get their leadership game, because many times people find themselves in leadership and they didn't necessarily get formal preparation. They don't necessarily have a tribe yet, because, you know, you get put in leadership and then the people who are behind you, they're like whispering because, you know, now you're the leader. Nonetheless, I say all that to say that Dr. Hodge is going to be doing her own thing this weekend. So you want to make sure to get connected with her, follow what she's got going on. I can't wait to see the technicians, the pharmacists, and the pharmacy students in the room at Nothing Held Back Live this Thursday, July 21st. Dr. Hodge, thank you. It was my pleasure to have you again, and we will talk again soon.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.